Tonight, you drift backward further than your waking mind can ever recall, past the soot of cities, past the quiet hum of machines, past the fragile glass of your modern window, until the world hardens into dirt, smoke, and iron. The year is not a number you can hold. It is the taste of ash on your tongue, the whisper of Mars in the distance, the sound of sandals striking the packed earth of a camp that breathes like a beast in the night. Torches sputter in the dark, casting their shadows against leather tents where nameless men groan, mutter, and dream of mothers they will never see again. You are among them now, faceless, voiceless, caught in the rhythm of 1,000 boots that do not belong to you, but march you forward all the same. The air is thick with the scent of sweat and oiled bronze. Beyond the wooden palisade, the land itself seems alive, watching, waiting. The gods do not speak. They do not comfort, but you feel them, hovering just beyond the firelight, in the shifting silence between heartbeats. Tonight, you belong to the Legion. Tonight, you sleep, not as yourself, but as the forgotten shadow of a soldier whose name even history has lost. Close your eyes. The earth is waiting, and so the camp begins. You wake to the drip of water, not the gentle rain of home, if you even remember home, but the harsh, ceaseless drip of a cracked leather flask dangling above you, swaying with the wind that sneaks through the seams of the tent. You are lying on straw that has long surrendered to dampness, its sharp stalks broken and softened by sweat and the restless turning of bodies. The stench is familiar, mold, piss, and the sour tang of unwashed flesh layered into every fibre beneath you. You do not recoil anymore. You belong to it. Or perhaps it belongs to you. It is difficult to tell where the bed ends and your body begins. Your fellow soldiers murmur in sleep. Some whisper prayers. Some groan. One coughs. A deep, rattling cough that sounds like a blade being drawn across stone. The sound lingers in the darkness, making you wonder if he will wake at all. You close your eyes again, but the silence that follows is not comforting. It is too sharp, as though the gods themselves are listening. You wonder if Mars finds amusement in your discomfort, if Fortuna has already rolled her dice against you. You shift, straw crunching beneath your back, and pull the woolen blanket tighter around your chest. It is rough, its fibres scratching your skin, but at least it hides you from the drafts that crawl like spirits through the gaps in the tent. You do not sleep alone. You never do. The camp is a body, and you are one of its organs, squeezed between ribs, breathing in rhythm with lungs that are not your own. Men dream beside you, their shoulders pressed to yours, their feet tangling with yours in the straw. There is no space here for individuality, no corner for solitude. When one turns, all must shift. When one snores, all must endure. You once resented this, the loss of privacy, but now it has become part of you, like the leather straps of your armor that bite into your flesh until you forget they exist. You are not a man. You are a fragment, a fraction of a machine larger than the camp, larger than Rome itself. A rat scurries across your chest. You do not move. You are too tired. And besides, what is one rat to a man who has seen entrails spill from an open belly, who has watched men fall like wheat in the scythe of war? The rat pauses, its tiny claws pricking your skin, then vanishes into the straw. You listen to the faint chewing at the edge of the tent and wonder which will go first, the bread rations or the man who coughs. Hunger is a companion here, as constant as the clink of iron and the shuffle of sandals. It gnaws at you even in rest, whispering through your ribs like an unending prayer. You smell smoke, not the warm smoke of a hearth, but the acrid sting of a damp fire outside the tent, its fumes curling under the canvas like a warning. The camp never sleeps. Not truly. Somewhere, a guard shifts on his post. Somewhere, a mule brays against its tether. Somewhere, steel is being sharpened, slow and methodical, as though even in the dead of night, the blade must remember its purpose. And beneath it all, Beneath the coughs and snores and prayers you hear the earth. The soil is restless, breathing. When you press your palm to the ground, you feel its slow pulse, as if it remembers the footsteps of every legion that came before, and every one that will come after. You wonder sometimes if the land resents you, if the fields you trample curse your name, if the forests you cut for timber whisper against you when the wind bends their branches. You wonder if the gods listen to such whispers, if they mark them down, another sin on the tally of Rome. The priests would say no. They would say the earth belongs to Rome, as do its rivers, its mountains, its people. But lying here, half asleep in the stink of straw and sweat, you feel the opposite. The earth does not belong to Rome. Rome belongs to the earth, and someday it will take it back. You close your eyes and drift, but not into rest. Your dreams are never restful. They come jagged, broken, half-formed. You see the faces of men you barely knew, their eyes wide and mouths full of dirt. You see gods with no faces, cloaked in shadow, watching without mercy. You see your own hands, red and trembling, clutching at nothing. When you wake, the images cling to you like cobwebs, heavy and sticky. You do not tell anyone. Everyone dreams the same. Everyone wakes with the same shadows on their skin. No one speaks of it. To speak would make it real, and you cannot carry reality on your back. The pack is already too heavy. The straw shifts again, and the coughing man gasps, a wet, final sound that makes you open your eyes. No one stirs, no one reaches out. In the morning he will be gone, carried out of the tent with as little ceremony as a mule carcass, and another will take his place. The straw will remain the same. The blanket will remain the same. The cough will remain too in memory, echoing through the silence long after his body is forgotten. You wonder if someday your breath will end in the same way, swallowed by the night without witness. Perhaps even tonight. Perhaps the rat waits for you. The torch outside sputters, throwing its glow through a crack in the canvas. The light crawls across the tent like a dying sun, illuminating faces lined with grime and exhaustion. You watch them, brothers, strangers, reflections. They are all the same. None of you matter. None of you will be remembered. You belong to the Legion, and the Legion belongs to nothing. Even Rome is not eternal, though they whisper it in every speech, every prayer, every sacrifice. You know better. You feel the soil beneath you, breathing, waiting. Eternal Rome is only eternal, until the earth decides otherwise. The rat returns. You close your eyes, too weary to chase it away. The air is cold again. Just like yesterday, just like tomorrow. You let the darkness swallow you, and though sleep does not come easily, it comes all the same, heavy as a stone, deep as a grave. And maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. The first thing you feel in the morning is not the cold, it is the cloth. Coarse wool clings to your skin, stiff from sweat and sleep, its fibers biting into you like nettles. You shift, and the tunic pulls at your shoulders, damp where the straw has pressed moisture into its threads. The garment has seen too many nights like this, too many days beneath the sun, too many washings in water that only makes it stiffer. The dye, if there ever was any, has long since faded into a dull, mud-soaked brown, indistinguishable from the dirt you march through. You wear Rome not in grandeur, but in this rough second skin that marks you as one of the many, faceless, replaceable. When you rise, you wrap your belt around your waist. The leather is cracked, stiff, and smells faintly of mildew. Each hole punched into it tells a story, some of gaining weight from stolen spoils, more often of losing it from hunger. Today you pull it one notch tighter. You are lighter now. They say Rome feeds her soldiers, but Rome's promises are like smoke, beautiful in ritual, bitter in taste, and vanishing in the wind. The belt cinches your tunic close, binding your ribs, keeping you upright when weariness would prefer you bend. Without it, the fabric would hang loose, like the skin of a corpse too long in the sun. Over this, you strap the armor. Laurica segmentar, they call it, though to you it is not Latin but burden, plates of iron that grind against one another with each movement, groaning like old bones. You do not think of protection anymore. Protection is a story they told you when you enlisted, the promise that iron would keep you alive. But you have seen blades slip between the cracks, arrows punch through leather, spears pierce iron, as though it were wet parchment. Armour is not a shield, it is a weight, a reminder that you are nothing but flesh, and that Rome demands more from flesh than flesh can give. Your shoulders ache beneath its straps. The iron digs into your collarbone. The chill of the morning seeps through the plates, making your skin prickle. You wonder if Mars laughs at you, wrapped in your little cage of metal, imagining yourself a warrior. The gods do not wear armour. They are naked, invincible, indifferent. You are clothed, heavy, and disposable. Perhaps the irony pleases them. Perhaps that is why they remain silent. At your side hangs the gladius, short and stubby, made not for show but for work, ugly work, quick work. The hilt is worn smooth from the sweat of countless palms before yours. You run your thumb along its grip and feel not the promise of power, but the fatigue of men who held it and fell. The blade is sharp, yes, but it does not gleam. It is no hero's sword, no mythic weapon sung by poets. It is a butcher's knife, forged for stabbing, for tearing open the bellies of men you will never know. You wonder how many lives it has already ended, how many breaths it has stolen, how many eyes it has dulled, and you wonder, quietly, if it remembers. On your feet are sandals, caligae, heavy with iron hobnails driven through the soles. They clatter against the ground like chains when you walk, and when you march they sing a song of captivity. You have heard that song echo across valleys, through forests, along rivers, the rhythm of Rome itself. 1,000 men bound together by iron at their feet. The sandals cut into your toes, rub your heels raw until they bleed. You have grown calluses, thick and cracked, but still the pain returns with every new road. Your feet are no longer yours. They belong to the road, to the stone, to the dust that waits for you to stumble and fall. You wear a cloak too, though it is little comfort. Dyed red once to mimic the blood of Mars, to frighten enemies, to bind you to your brothers. Now it is frayed, weather-worn, stained with dirt, smoke and rain. When you wrap it around yourself at night, you feel its thinness, its surrender to the cold. Yet still, it carries a strange authority. In the torchlight, from a distance, it makes you look like more than you are. Part of the machine, part of the endless tide of crimson that Rome pours over the earth. Perhaps that is its true purpose. Not warmth, but illusion. Not protection, but the mask of inevitability. You have other garments too, though you wear them less often. Ritual robes pulled from chests that smell of cedar and death, their fabric stiff with the sweat of countless ceremonies. Once in the shadow of an altar, you wore one, white as bone, while blood dripped onto your sandals from the throat of a goat sacrificed to Jupiter. The robe clung to you that night, as though it knew it would be worn again by another after you were gone. You stripped it off with relief, folded it with shaking hands and buried it in the chest again. It waits still, for another night, another prayer, another body. Sometimes you wear what is stolen, a ring stripped from a corpse, a scarf pulled from a conquered village, a charm whispered to hold luck. You know it is foolish. These objects carry not luck, but the memories of those who died clutching them. Still you keep them. You tie them to your belt, hang them from your neck, tuck them into your sandal straps. Each one is a lie you tell yourself, that you are more than a soldier, that you are more than straw and iron, that you are not entirely Rome's. But the truth is plain. You are what you wear, and what you wear is Rome. The tunic, the belt, the armour, the blade, the sandals, the cloak, all of them weave you into the machine. They erase your name, your face, your family. When you march, you are indistinguishable from the man beside you. a mirror of his dirt, his iron, his blood. You belong to him, and he to you, bound by straps and hobnails, indistinct in the crimson tide. At night, when you strip the armor away, you feel the ghost of it still. The weight lingers on your shoulders. The straps burn your flesh long after they are gone. Sometimes you dream of walking naked into the forest, barefoot, unarmed, unmarked by Rome. But even in dreams the armor follows. You wake to the bite of its straps, to the chafing of the tunic, to the rattle of hobnails against the ground. The body remembers what the soul longs to forget. You will wear these things until they wear you down, until the cloak has passed to another, until the sword slips from your hand, until the sandals carry you no further. Rome will strip the armor from your corpse, patch the tunic, mend the belt, and hand it to the next nameless man. Nothing is wasted in the camp, not even you. The torchlight fades outside the tent. The wind sneaks in again, tugging at your cloak, whispering like the voice of the earth itself. The gods are silent, as always. Only the cloth speaks, scratching your skin, reminding you of who you are and who you are not. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow. You pull the cloak tighter and let the night settle over you like another layer of clothing, heavy and indifferent. And maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. The horn splits the night before the sun does. Its sound is not music, not command, not even warning. It is simply inevitability, loud and raw, vibrating through your chest, until you wonder if your ribs might crack. You wake not because you choose to, but because no man in camp can sleep through it. The coffer is gone now, carried out at dawn. His space in the straw is already filled by another shadow, snoring softly, as though nothing has changed, nothing ever does. You sit up, bones creaking like old timber, and the cold greets you again, sharp enough to bite. The tunic scratches your skin, the sandals scrape your feet. The armor waits for you like a patient executioner. You do not put it on yet. First comes the task, the one that decides whether today will be blood or mud or prayer. Sometimes it is drill. The centurion stands before you, his vine staff ready, his voice loud enough to carry over the fog that clings to the camp. Again, he says, always again. You raise the shield, heavy wood that smells of resin and sweat, and you thrust the gladius forward into the straw dummy. The point sinks in, but not deep enough. Never deep enough. He strikes you across the back, the sting blooming hot and angry, but you do not flinch. You learned long ago that flinching only invites more blows. Again, he says, your arm aches, your shoulder burns, but you thrust again. The straw splits, spilling dust into the air like the ghosts of men you've already killed. Other days, it is labour. The gods laugh loudest then. They dressed you in iron and called you soldier, but they use you as mule, as carpenter, as ditch digger. You lift stones until your back screams. You shovel dirt until blisters rise and split across your palms. Sweat drips into your eyes, stinging, blinding. The earth yields only grudgingly, groaning beneath the weight of your effort. You wonder if it resists you, if the soil itself resents the trench you dig into its skin. You hear it breathing again, beneath the scrape of shovel and the grunt of men. You imagine it whispering curses in a tongue older than Rome. You imagine the trench filling itself back in after you march away, as though the earth refuses to remember your touch. There are mornings when the task is slaughter. The mules that cannot carry, the dogs that snap at officers, the prisoners too broken to march. You are handed the knife, and though your stomach twists, your hand moves without hesitation. The blade parts hair, hide, throat. The blood is warm, steaming in the cold morning air. The centurion nods, satisfied not at the skill but at the obedience. You wipe the knife on your tunic, adding another stain to the tapestry of dirt and sweat. You wonder if the gods are watching, not the noble ones they speak of in temples, but the lesser ones, the nameless ones who dwell in shadows and corners. You wonder if they keep tally, if they whisper to each other, "This man again, another cut." another throat. And then there are mornings of prayer. Those are the cruelest. The altar stands at the center of camp, its stones blackened with the fat of countless sacrifices. The priest's voice drones, rising and falling like waves against a distant shore. You stand with the others, head bowed, though your thoughts drift. The smoke curls into your eyes, making them water, making you look more pious than you are. The goat bleats, then falls silent. Blood runs down the altar, pooling at its base, soaking into the dirt. You stare at the dark stain, and wonder how many offerings it will take before Jupiter notices, before Mars lifts his head, before Fortuna turns her wheel in your favor. The priest says the gods are listening, but when you close your eyes, all you hear is silence, heavy, eternal silence. No matter the task, drill, labor, slaughter, prayer, you end the same way, exhausted. Your arms tremble, your back aches, your knees wobble, hunger gnaws at you. Sharper now, mocking. You lick your lips and taste only salt. The sun rises higher, a pale and distant thing, more spectre than star. Its light spills over the camp, washing the tents, the ditches, the palisades in a glow that feels less like dawn and more like exposure. There is no warmth in it, only revelation. It shows you for what you are. Another shadow in a line of shadows, another pair of hands worn raw, another breath soon to vanish. You look at the men beside you and see your own reflection. They do not complain. They do not curse. They endure. It is not bravery. It is not loyalty. It is simply necessity. You do not live by choice here. You live because death has not found you yet, and so you grip the shield, the shovel, the knife, the prayer. You do what is asked. You do it again, and again, and again. When the task is done, the horn sounds again, not softer, not kinder, just louder. You return to the tent, muscles quivering, throat dry. The straw waits, unchanged, as though it knows you will always return. You collapse onto it, breathing hard, staring at the flicker of torchlight on the canvas. You wonder how many mornings are left. You wonder if it matters. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, and maybe now, finally you can close your eyes. It is not silence that rules the camp. It is voices, low, constant, weaving themselves into the straw, into the smoke, into your skin until you no longer know where your own breath ends and theirs begins. You wake to them, you fall asleep to them, and sometimes you dream of nothing else. A cough begins first, ragged and wet, dragging itself through the tent until it rattles in your own chest. You do not know whose cough it is. You do not care. It is simply the cough, eternal, passed from man to man like an heirloom no one wants. Beside it comes the muttering. A prayer, perhaps, though the words blur into a hum, syllables worn smooth from repetition. The soldier whispers Jupiter's name, or Mars's, or maybe his mother's, but it does not matter. The sound is the same, soft, desperate, fading, before it ever reaches a god's ear. There are curses too, sharp, whispered through clenched teeth, spat under breath as sandals are strapped, as armor refuses to buckle, as blisters split open again and again. They curse the centurion, the road, the mud, the cold. They curse the mules, the rain, the smoke that stings their eyes, but never Rome, never the gods. That would be dangerous. That would invite silence thicker than death. So the curses stay small, aimed at the world that is close enough to be cruel but not powerful enough to strike back. Laughter appears sometimes, thin, brittle, the kind that cracks in the middle. It sounds like joy until you listen closer. Then you hear the hollowness, the way it dies too quickly, the way no smile lasts long. Men laugh about the taste of the bread, about the fleas in their tunics, about the lice that crawl from scalp to scalp. They laugh at death too, but always with that same edge, as though mocking it will keep it at bay. The laughter makes you uneasy. It always does. You prefer the curses. At least curses are honest. There are songs too, fragments mostly, a chorus carried from one province to another, learned in childhood, broken by time and distance. One man hums a line, another joins, a third forgets the words. The song dissolves into silence, or into another cough, or into a curse. But for a moment, you hear it, the memory of a place far away, a mother's voice, a fire that was not Rome's. It lingers in the air like smoke, and then it is gone. You do not know if the man who sang even remembers what it meant. And then there are the commands, always commands, shouted, barked, driven into you like nails. Form up, again, faster. The centurion's voice cuts through everything. His words carried by the vine staff he slams against a shield, against a back, against the earth itself. His voice is not his own. It belongs to Rome. It belongs to every commander who came before, every commander who will come after. You obey not because of him, but because his voice is the echo of power. It is the sound of inevitability. At night, when the horn has gone silent and the drills are done, the voices change, softer, slower. Men whisper of dreams, of villages left behind, of faces they have not seen in years. Some whisper of women, though the words feel more like wounds than pleasures. Others whisper of gods again, not prayers this time, but questions. Why here? Why now? Why me? No answers come, only the shuffle of straw, the creak of wood, the sigh of another man already asleep. You listen. Always you listen. You know their voices better than their names. Names are fragile here. They vanish too easily, erased by fever, by blade, by a ditch filled with mud. But voices linger. You could pick them out in the dark, blindfolded, your ears alone guiding you to the coffer, to the mutterer, to the one who snores so loud it shakes the canvas. Their words have stitched themselves into you. You will carry them longer than you carry your own. Sometimes, when the camp is restless, you hear another voice, not human, not entirely, a whisper that slides between the tents, rising with the wind, fading with the crackle of fire. You tell yourself it is nothing, just the flap of canvas, the hiss of smoke, but you know better. The land speaks too, the gods perhaps, or the forgotten ones beneath the soil, the shades of soldiers who marched before you and left their breath behind. Their voices slip into your dreams, telling you things you do not want to know. You wake sweating, heart pounding, but when you look around, the men sleep soundly. Only you heard it. Only you listened. The voices follow you outside the tent. Mule drivers cursing, guards muttering, officers barking. Even the mules speak, their brays harsh and human in their suffering. The clang of hammer on iron becomes another voice, ringing out in rhythm, speaking in a language older than Latin. The crack of wood under axe speaks too, sharp and brutal. The whole camp is a chorus, and you are one note in the endless song. You wonder, sometimes, if silence even exists anymore. You remember it faintly from some place before the camp, the hush of fields at dawn, the stillness of a mother's hand on your shoulder. But here, silence is a myth. Even when the horn rests, even when the voices fall low, there is always something, the cough, the curse, the shuffle of rats in the straw, the whisper of the land beneath you, always something. And yet it comforts you, against the cold, against the hunger, against the silence of absent gods. These voices remind you that you are not alone. You belong to them, and they to you. If you were to vanish tonight, they would not remember your name, but they would remember your cough, your mutter, your laughter, your curse. You would live on in the cadence of another man's breath, in the rhythm of the camp's unending song. The torch sputters low, the tent creaks, a man beside you mutters in his sleep. Words you do not understand. Perhaps they are prayers, perhaps curses, perhaps both. You close your eyes, listening, letting the voices wash over you like a tide. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, and maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. The camp wakes before the sun, but the ritual wakes before the camp. You hear it first, the slow tread of sandals on the packed earth, the whisper of robes brushing against one another, the low muttering of words older than Latin. You rise because you must, not because you believe. Belief is a luxury, and luxuries have no place in the Legion. Here there is only ritual habit given the shape of holiness. The altar stands at the heart of camp, a block of stone blackened with soot, its surface slick with the dried blood of animals that once bleated beneath the knife. No one remembers where the stone came from. Some say it was dragged from a conquered temple, others that it was taken from a place the gods themselves marked. You do not ask. You do not want to know. It is enough that it is here, waiting, heavy with every offering that has stained it. The priest appears, as he always does, robed in white that is never white for long. His voice is low, deliberate, carrying not power but inevitability. He does not shout like the centurion. He does not beg like the coughing soldier muttering to Mars in the dark. His words fall steady, soft, like the drip of water into stone. You do not understand half of them, and that is the point. The mystery binds you tighter than clarity ever could. The goat is dragged forward, hooves scraping against the dirt, eyes rolling wide. It knows, of course it knows. Everything alive knows when death is near. The priest lays a hand on its head, whispering words it does not hear. Then the knife flashes. The throat opens. Blood spills. The steam rises into the morning air, red against the pale light. The goat's body shudders, then stills. You watch because you must, not because you feel. Feeling is dangerous here. The blood runs down the grooves of the altar, black against the stone. It drips into the earth, and you imagine the soil drinking greedily, as though it has been waiting, as though this is not for the gods above, but for the ones below, the forgotten ones, the buried ones, the shades who breathe through the cracks in the ground. You shiver, though the morning is not yet cold enough for shivering. The smoke curls from the fire as the priest tosses fat onto the flames. The smell clings to you, greasy, heavy, sinking into your tunic, your hair, your skin. You will carry it all day, the scent of sacrifice following you like a ghost. You breathe it in because you must, not because it comforts. Comfort is not part of this. The smoke blinds your eyes until tears slip down your cheeks. The priest sees them and nods, thinking them piety. You do not correct him. Let him believe. Belief keeps his hand steady. The centurion stands nearby, watching, his vine staff silent for once. Even he bows his head, not in humility but in calculation. If the gods are watching, better to be seen bowing. If they are not, no harm is done. You mimic him, lowering your eyes, letting the smoke sting your lashes. It is easier than resisting. Resistance is for men who are remembered. You will not be remembered. Around you, the voices of your brothers murmur. Some whisper prayers of their own, slipping in names of family, of lost villages, of children who will never know their fathers. Others are silent, their lips pressed tight, their eyes hard. You wonder which is worse, those who still hope, or those who have already abandoned hope. Perhaps there is no difference. The gods do not answer either way. The ritual does not end with the goat. There are other offerings, a loaf of bread too hard to eat, poured wine diluted with water, a charm left at the altar's edge. You wonder at the point of it. The gods of Rome command legions, empires, temples of marble. What care have they for this crust of bread, this thin wine, this trinket made by a nameless hand? And yet you watch the priest place each one with reverence, as though Jupiter himself leans down to sniff the offering, as though Mars licks the blood from the stone. Sometimes the ritual turns darker. A prisoner is brought forward. You have seen it once, his eyes wild, his mouth foaming with curses in a tongue you do not understand. They held him down, and the knife flashed the same way it did for the goat. His blood steamed the same way, his body twitched the same way, his silence came the same way. The priest said the gods were pleased that day. You are not so sure. You dreamed of that man for weeks afterward. His voice slipped into your sleep, whispering from the dirt beneath your straw bed. When it is done, the priest raises his hands, as though dismissing you. The horn sounds again. The camp moves. The altar stands, unchanged, waiting for the next dawn, the next offering, the next knife. You walk away because you must, not because you are clean. The blood has already stained you, though none is on your hands. The smoke has already entered your lungs, though you do not cough. The ritual does not leave you. It follows. It clings. You wonder sometimes if the gods laugh at you. You wonder if they sit in their temples of marble, watching you bleed goats and pour cheap wine, amused at the spectacle. Or perhaps they do not laugh. Perhaps they do not notice. Perhaps they are gone, or dead, or never were. The silence between the priest's words feels heavier each day, as though it has its own weight, its own hunger. Silence is a god too, you think, one that feeds well in this camp. You return to your tent, the smoke still thick in your throat, the blood still wet in your memory. The straw scratches your skin. A man mutters a prayer beside you. Another coughs. You close your eyes, but the altar follows you, its stone pressing against the back of your mind, its grooves filled with blood that will never dry. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, and maybe now. Finally, you can close your eyes. You smell it before you see it. Burnt grain, sour wine, the faint tang of brine clinging to the air. The horn has called again, and so you shuffle forward with the rest, each man clutching his wooden bowl, each man staring at the hands in front of him, as though the meal might vanish if they dared to look elsewhere. Hunger is a chain here, pulling every gaze downward, every thought inward, every man bound to the gnawing emptiness inside his own ribs. The ration is always the same, though they tell you variety exists. Crusts of bread, hard enough to scrape your gums raw if you bite too carelessly. A handful of barley, boiled into something that pretends at porridge but tastes only of smoke and ash. Sometimes a slice of cheese, sharp and sour, the kind that makes your stomach churn even as you swallow. Salted pork if fortune is kind, though the salt burns your tongue, and the fat coats your mouth until it feels as though you are chewing wax. Wine too, thin, watery, stretched so far you wonder if the gods themselves weep for the grapes. You drink it anyway because water is worse. Water carries fever, wine at least carries forgetfulness. You sit on the ground with the others, legs crossed, bowls balanced on your knees. Around you the camp murmurs with the rhythm of teeth grinding against crust, of spoons scraping the bottoms of bowls, of men sighing through noses clogged with dust. No one speaks much. Words waste energy better spent on chewing. Words remind you that this is not a feast, not a banquet, not even enough. Silence, broken only by the sounds of eating, makes it easier to pretend you are satisfied. You tear at the bread with your teeth, jaw aching, crumbs scattering down your tunic. You think of home again, though you cannot remember if home ever had better bread. Did your mother's hands knead softer loaves? Did you once eat warm crusts fresh from an oven, steam rising in the morning air? Or is that a lie your hunger has invented? You cannot tell anymore. The memory shifts like smoke each time you reach for it. Sometimes you trade a scrap of cheese for an extra gulp of wine, a crust of bread for a strip of pork fat. Men haggle like merchants in the forum. But there is no wealth here, only scraps, only hunger, only the illusion of choice. You wonder if the gods laugh at this too, these little bargains struck in the dirt. Perhaps Mercury himself wanders the camp invisible, amused at the sight of his sons trading crumbs like coins. Other times, you steal, not grandly, not with pride, but quietly, your hand slipping across the bowl of the man beside you when he looks away, your thumb pressing into the edge of his bread as though testing it, snapping it off before he notices. You do not do this often. The risk is too great. If caught, the punishment is worse than hunger. And yet you have done it. Hunger drives all men to theft eventually, even those who swore oaths to Rome, especially those. There are rituals here too, unspoken ones. You always eat the bread first, no matter how hard, because it fills the belly. You save the pork, if it exists, for last, so the salt lingers on your tongue a little longer. You never drink all your wine at once, though your thirst begs you to. You sip it slowly, stretching its thinness into the illusion of abundance. These are not laws written by commanders. They are laws written by the body, by hunger, by the ache of emptiness that has more authority than any centurion's vine staff. The food never lasts long. Minutes perhaps, before the bowls are scraped clean, before the bread is gone, before the wineskins are empty. And then comes the silence again. Heavier this time, the silence of men who know they are not satisfied, but dare not complain. Complaints are wasted breath. Complaints invite punishment. So they sit, staring at their bowls, at the dirt, at their own hands. You sit with them, licking the last of the crumbs from your fingers, pretending it is enough, pretending you are full. But the hunger remains. Always the hunger. It waits, patient, beneath your ribs, whispering promises of tomorrow, of the next ration, of the feast that never comes. You wonder if the gods ever knew hunger. Jupiter with his feasts of ambrosia, Mars with his endless blood, Venus with her honey and figs. Did they ever chew stale bread until their gums bled? Did they ever sip thin wine that burned like vinegar in the throat? You doubt it. They sit above, fed by sacrifice, fat on offerings, blind to the gnawing in your belly. If they hear your hunger, they do not answer. Sometimes you dream of food, a roasted bird, golden skin crackling, a loaf of bread that breaks soft in your hands, a cup of wine so thick it stains your lips red. You wake to find straw in your mouth, dirt on your tongue, the taste of ash lingering in your throat. You laugh softly then, though it is not joy. Just bitterness, just hunger again, mocking you even in dreams. You rise when the horn calls once more. Bowl empty, belly empty, heart empty. Around you the camp stirs. Men brushing crumbs from their cloaks, tying sandals, tightening belts. No one is full, no one ever is. And yet you march because hunger is not strong enough to stop Rome. Hunger is simply another companion walking beside you with iron hobnails on its feet. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow. You clutch your bowl, still warm from your breath, and for a moment it feels like comfort. Then it cools, then it is nothing. And maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. The horn has sounded again, not for food, not for drill, but for something heavier. You feel it before you hear it. The shift in the air, the quiet ripple through the men, the way their eyes lower, the way their steps drag. This is not anticipation. This is inevitability. Punishment always arrives. As sure as dawn, as sure as hunger, as sure as the gods' silence. You gather with the others in the open ground near the palisade. The cold earth hard beneath your sandals. The centurion stands tall, vine staff in hand, his face carved into stone. He does not smile, he does not scowl, he simply waits, the staff tapping lightly against his palm. The sound echoes like a heartbeat, steady, patient, unstoppable. The condemned man is dragged forward. His tunic is torn, his arms bound, his face pale with fear that tries and fails to mask itself as defiance. You do not look away. You cannot. Punishment is for all, not just for him. To turn your head would be worse than to watch. The centurion knows this. The gods know this. Even the earth beneath your feet knows this. The whip is uncoiled. Leather straps, heavy with knots, weighted with iron. The sound it makes when it strikes is not what you expect. It is not a crack sharp and quick, but a thud wet and final, as though flesh itself has given up. The man cries out once, twice, and then no more. His voice breaks into gasps, then silence, though the whip continues. You count the lashes without meaning to. 10, 15, 20, each one carving itself into your memory, like a brand. You wonder if Mars keeps count as well, marking each stroke in his ledger of blood. There are other punishments too, sometimes exile, banished from the camp, sent into the wilderness with nothing but sandals and shame. You have seen men stumble into the forest, their backs still bleeding, their eyes hollow with terror. None return. The forest swallows them whole, whether by hunger, wolves, or the knives of enemies. Exile is not punishment. It is execution drawn slow by distance. Sometimes it is hunger itself. A man denied his ration for stealing, for disobedience, for words spoken too loud in the wrong ear. He sits among the others at mealtime, bowl empty, eyes hollow, lips trembling as he watches bread broken and wine poured. No one shares, no one dares. The punishment is not only his, it seeps into all of you, reminding you how thin the line is between survival and silence. You eat faster on those days, ashamed of your own hunger, ashamed of the relief that it is not you. And sometimes the punishment is silence from the gods, a ritual gone wrong, an omen misread, a sacrifice spoiled. Then the priest announces that Jupiter has turned his face, or Mars has sheathed his sword, or Fortuna has spun her wheel away from you. The camp grows quieter after such pronouncements. Men move more carefully, speak more softly, as though sound itself might anger the gods further. You do not know if the gods truly notice. You suspect they do not. But the silence of your brothers, their bowed heads, their muttered prayers, it punishes you more deeply than any whip. You wonder, as you watch the lashes fall, why punishment matters. Rome does not need obedience. Rome has fear. Rome has hunger. Rome has silence. Yet still they strike again and again, as though pain itself is a language you must learn, and perhaps it is. The whip speaks more clearly than the centurion's words. The exile speaks more loudly than a priest's sermon. Hunger speaks more truth than any decree from marble halls. You listen. You understand. You obey. The man collapses at last, his back raw and glistening. The centurion nods once, as though ticking a box on a list. The whip is coiled again. The staff rests at his side. The punished is dragged away, limp, breath shallow. Another man steps forward to fill the space he left. The camp closes its mouth around the absence. The machine does not slow. It never slows. You return to your tent, the image of the lashes carved into your mind. You feel them on your own back, ghost pain prickling across your skin, though you were not struck. You lie in the straw and imagine the whip descending, the leather kissing your flesh, the iron biting deep. You wonder if you would cry out. You wonder if you would fall silent sooner than he did. You wonder if the gods would notice either way. The torchlight flickers. A man beside you mutters a curse under his breath. Another whispers a prayer. You close your eyes and for a moment you feel the whip again. Though it never touched you, the air is cold again. Just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, and maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. It comes only when the camp grows quiet, when the torches burn low, when the coughs and mutters fade into the steady breathing of weary men. You lie on the straw, staring at the canvas above, your body heavy, your stomach hollow, your mind restless. And then it arrives, not gently, not kindly, but like a tide you cannot resist. The dream. At first, it is simple. Bread, not the hard crusts of the ration, not the mouldy scraps shared in silence, but a loaf soft and warm, steam rising from its broken centre. You tear it with your hands, and it gives easily, the smell filling your lungs, richer than incense, richer than wine. You bite into it, and your teeth sink through softness. Your tongue tastes sweetness. Your belly fills with warmth. You wake before you can swallow, the taste dissolving into ash, the hunger returning sharper than before. Other nights, the dream is freedom. You walk barefoot through fields not trampled by legions, grass brushing against your calves, the sun warm on your shoulders. No armor, no whip, no horn, only the sound of birds, the wind bending stalks of wheat, the distant laugh of children you cannot see. You reach out to touch the grass, and it turns to straw beneath your fingers, damp and cold, the dream collapsing into the tent around you. You turn in your bed, eyes wet, though you do not cry. Soldiers do not cry, at least not where anyone can hear. There are darker dreams too. You stand in battle, your gladius dripping, your shield cracked. Around you lie the fallen, their faces blurred, their voices gone. You kneel to one, turn his head, and see your own eyes staring back. You drop him, stumble to another, and again, your face, your eyes, your blood. Every corpse is yours. Every scream is yours. The horn blows in the distance, and you wake with your heart pounding, your throat raw, your hands shaking as though the blade still clings to them. Sometimes you dream of gods, not the marble figures the priests describe, not the painted idols in temples, but shapes without form, voices without mouths, presences that press against your chest until you cannot breathe. Mars appears as shadow, Jupiter as silence, Fortuna is a wheel that spins until it blurs into nothing. They do not speak, they do not need to, their weight alone is enough. You wake gasping, feeling smaller than straw, smaller than ash, smaller than the breath you exhale. And yet, there are nights when the dream feels almost like mercy. You see a woman's face though you cannot name her. Perhaps she was yours once, or perhaps she never existed at all. Her hand touches your cheek, warm, soft, cleaner than any hand you have felt in years. She whispers something you cannot hear, but the sound fills you with peace. You try to hold her, but your arms pass through smoke. She fades, and you wake clutching straw, your chest aching with a loss you never truly had. The dream comes in cycles. Hope one night, despair the next. Bread, freedom, gods, ghosts, each one sharper than waking, each one vanishing too soon. You begin to wonder if the dream is the true world and this camp, this hunger, this whip is the illusion. Perhaps the gods cast you into this shadow as punishment, and your dreams are fragments of the life you once lived, or the life you will live when you are released from flesh. You do not know. You cannot know, but the thought clings to you, heavier than armor, softer than sleep. The men around you dream too. You hear them mutter, groan, laugh in their sleep. You wonder what they see. Do they dream of bread, of women, of fields untouched by iron, or do they too see corpses with their own faces, gods without mouths, shadows that whisper? You will never ask. To speak of dreams in daylight is to invite mockery, or worse, belief. Better to let the dreams rot in silence. Better to let them haunt you alone. You close your eyes again, waiting. The dream returns. This time you are walking through a city of marble, tall columns shining in sunlight, fountains spilling water clear as glass. Rome, they call it, the eternal city. But it is empty. No voices, no laughter, no footsteps but yours. You wander the streets, searching, calling out, but no one answers. At last you hear something, a cough. You follow it, turning corner after corner, until you see him, the coughing soldier from your tent, his eyes wide, his body pale, his lips blue. He reaches for you, mouth open, but no sound comes. The dream does not end when you wake. It lingers, heavy in your chest, sharp in your belly, cold in your bones. You lie there, staring at the canvas, listening to the whispers of the earth beneath you, and you wonder which life is real, the one in the tent or the one behind your eyelids. Perhaps neither, perhaps both. The torch outside sputters, its light dim. The camp shifts. Restless in sleep, you close your eyes again, and the dream returns. Patient, inevitable, merciless. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow, and maybe now, finally you can close your eyes. It does not arrive with horns or shouts or ceremony. The end comes quietly, like a shadow slipping beneath the tent flap, like smoke curling from a dying torch. You do not see it at first. You feel it, the heaviness in your limbs, the weight in your chest, the ache that no sleep can mend. You tell yourself it is fatigue, the drills, the marches, the hunger. You tell yourself it will pass, but it does not. It grows. Fever takes men often here. It begins as a warmth in the forehead, then spreads like fire through the body. Soon every breath is flame, every blink a struggle. The straw clings to your sweat, damp and sour, until you feel you are lying in a swamp of your own making. Your brothers roll away from you, muttering prayers under their breath. They know fever is not just sickness. Fever is a whisper of the underworld, a hand reaching up from the dirt. You close your eyes and feel it too. The earth beneath you, warm now, pulsing, waiting. Other ends come sharper. The blade, thrust between ribs, sudden and merciless. You have seen it countless times. A man strong in the morning, laughing over his crust of bread, gone by night, his breath spilling into the dust. No time for prayers, no time for ritual, only the red flash, the gasp, the collapse. You wonder if that is kinder than the fever, to vanish quickly, without waiting, without knowing. Perhaps the blade is mercy, though it never feels like it when you hear the scream, when you see the twitch of fingers that will never grip again. Famine is crueler still, not absence of food entirely. Rome is too careful for that, but rations stretched thinner, bread broken smaller, wine watered further. Your body shrinks, your belt pulled tighter each week, your cheeks hollow, your eyes sinking into shadow. Hunger becomes not companion but captor. You feel it gnawing through you, hollowing you out until you are nothing but skin and breath. Men vanish this way too, not with cries or violence, but with silence. One day they stop rising when the horn sounds. One day they do not shift when the straw pricks. They simply fade, swallowed by the dirt that breathes beneath them. And sometimes the end is stranger. A man walks out of camp at night, barefoot, cloak wrapped tight. No one stops him. No one calls after him. He vanishes into the forest, into the dark, into the silence. In the morning, his straw bed is empty. His name is not spoken again. Perhaps he found freedom, perhaps wolves, perhaps the gods. You do not know. You will never know. The camp closes around his absence like water around a stone. You wonder, often, what your own end will be. Fever, blade, famine, or silence. Each possibility walks beside you, as constant as hunger, as inevitable as the whip. You try to imagine it. Will your brothers remember your face, your cough, your laugh, or will you be erased, your name forgotten before the torchlight burns out? You know the answer already. Rome does not remember. Rome does not care. The legion swallows men whole, and the earth swallows what is left. At night, you dream of endings. You see yourself lying on the straw, eyes glazed, lips cracked, breath stilled. You see yourself bleeding into the dirt, gladius fallen from your hand. You see yourself walking into the forest, the dark closing around you. Each dream feels true, each one heavier than the last. You wake with your heart pounding, your hands trembling, your body cold, with the certainty that the dream was not dream at all, but glimpse, a whisper of what waits. The priest says death is not the end, that your soul rises, joins the gods, feasts in their halls. You do not believe him. You have seen too many bodies left in ditches, too many faces eaten by crows, too many names forgotten. The soul, if it exists, does not rise. It sinks. Into the earth, into the straw, into the silence. Perhaps that is the true feast. The earth feeding on you, the dirt drinking your blood, the shadows growing fat on your absence. One morning, you wake and cannot rise. Your limbs are too heavy, your chest too tight. The horn sounds, the men shuffle past, but you remain. You listen to their footsteps fade, to the coughs and curses vanish, to the camp grow quiet without you. You close your eyes and wait. The straw scratches your skin. The earth breathes beneath you. The gods are silent as always. You are not afraid, not anymore. The torch sputters. The air is cold again, just like yesterday, just like tomorrow. And maybe now, finally, you can close your eyes. The camp is gone now. The torches have burned low, their smoke thinning into the dawn. The coughs, the mutters, the curses, all of them have faded into silence. The straw bed beneath you is cold, the earth still breathing, patient, waiting. You lie there, not soldier, not man, not even shadow. Only breath, only silence. The horns no longer call. The centurion's staff no longer strikes. The priest no longer murmurs. All the voices that pressed against you, that carved themselves into your skin, have slipped away. You are weightless, though your body still presses into the ground. You are empty, though your ribs still rise and fall. You think of bread, of wine, of smoke rising from the altar. You think of leather straps, of iron plates, of hobnails grinding stone. You think of hunger, of laughter, of the whip, of the dream. They pass before you slowly, one by one, like shades filing into the underworld. Each memory bows as it passes, each vanishes into the dark. Nothing clings, nothing remains. You wonder if the gods watch now, at the edge of this silence. Jupiter, with his endless feast. Mars, with his blades slick with centuries. Fortuna, spinning her wheel with eyes blindfolded. Or perhaps only the earth watches, her patience longer than theirs, her silence heavier. She breathes still beneath you, steady, eternal. She does not care for Rome. She does not care for gods. She remembers only the weight of bodies, the warmth of blood, the taste of names dissolving into dust. You think of your own name, but it slips away. You try to hold it, shape it with your lips, but your tongue is heavy, your mouth dry. The name falls from you like a stone into water, sinking without echo, without ripple. No one remembers it, not even you. The cold wraps around you, softer now, no longer biting. It is not punishment. It is not hunger. It is release. You close your eyes, and the canvas above dissolves into shadow. The straw beneath you softens into nothing. The voices around you fade into silence. You feel yourself carried not by men, not by gods, but by the earth itself, cradled in soil, pressed into the dark. No horn calls you back. No whip drives you forward. No prayer lifts you upward. You are still. You are gone. No one remembers your name, not even the gods. But the dirt does. The shadows do. And now, at last, you sleep.